Hello? Okay. No sound. You getting sound now? You think I'd tell that story again? I just really rambled on for 3 minutes and 45 seconds and no one heard a word I said. Am I getting sound? Did she knock that out? She might have knocked it. Yeah, she muted it. All right. Can you hear me now? Someone want to say if they can hear me now? All set. Well, I'm going to change the microphone again. All right. Can you still hear me? And I'll start the story again because apparently I didn't. I rambled on for 3.5 minutes and you didn't hear words. Okay. Al, how are you? All right. So I will tell the story again since no one heard it the first time. It is a great story. It's worth repeating. So my wife and I go downtown every day when the weather will allow. Uh Ivan, you still can't hear me? You should be able to hear me. I had sound. Do I have sound now? Do I have sound now? I'm hearing I had sound. Oh, okay. Well, fine. I'll talk to this microphone then. For some reason, the Yeti stopped working. Okay. You can hear me now. I'll start the story again. Okay. Thank you, Tribe Fan. Um, all right. So my wife and I go downtown pretty much every morning for coffee and a snack. Uh, and today was no exception. And kind of a cold fall day, and we did our drinks. I did a bagel. I'm normally a tea drinker. I'm not much of a coffee person, but they had where we go. They had a tea called Nepal Second Flush, and the name of that just sounds terrible. Ivan, you still can't. Al, can you hear me? Herb Pilgrim, how are you? Okay, Tribe, can you? All right. Oh, okay. You can hear me fine. Fine. Say it. Say it before I start the story again. Come on. Come on, Larry. Put it in. Put it in. People make me sick. Put it in. All right. So I won't restart the story then. So we go downtown for that. So I went and had a mocha latte and my bagel. And so we're coming back through and we're almost home. And across the street where the bus terminal is, I see somebody waving at me. It's Ken. It's Ken. And so I turn to Sarah and go, "Do you know this person?" As he's crossing the street. It's Ken. And Sarah's going, "I have no idea. I think it's somebody you know." Howdy, Yappa Chatter. And so we stop, and I'm thinking that it's got to be a family member of one of my wife's patients because she works in healthcare and has worked in healthcare for a long time. And so he comes up to me and gives me a hug. Turns out it's Ken Castro, a friend of the community, and he's in town to catch a bus to Montreal so we can go cover a track meet up there. I think. We're not doing the OH thing again. You got away with it once, little. I'll become a wrestler in your thing called the Masked Michigan Avenger. Um, And so, yeah. And so I got to a chance to meet and get a picture taken with Kenny Castro. How are you, Miss Junkwax? Does Mr. Junkwax know that you're here? And so that was quite cool to be able to meet him. So my wife took a picture on his phone, and Ken lives in New England, but I'm not, as Dave Gardner will tell you, I'm not nearby anybody. It takes about 3-4 hours to get up here. And so in the Discord, if you remember that, there's a great picture of Ken and I together. And I don't know if Ken wants that posted on Facebook or not. So I'm not going to post it unless I get explicit written permission from Major League Baseball, the NBA, or the NHL, or the NFL, for that matter. So that was my cool moment of the day. And so in the last 2 weeks, I've spent the day with Dave and Sharon Gardner, who are wonderful people. And I, of course, got to meet Kenny Castro the next time that Ken's in town. We're going to do lunch. So that was awesome. Just awesome. Let's see, what else have I been doing this week? 2 games in the Pro Football Replay. We did the Week 2 battles between the Patriots and the Jets. Did that on Tuesday. If you're a Jets fan, you might want to watch the second half of that. And on Thursday, we did the Rams and the 49ers. And that was a very good game as well. Sometimes you're the bug and sometimes you're the windshield. What else did I do this week? The hockey game for Action PC is delayed till Tuesday. So that's why there was no live stream yesterday. I did 2 things. Oh, I did a Patreon live game, which I was supposed to do Wednesday and fell asleep. Between the Padres and the Braves from '84, we did the Pascual Perez fight game, which was interesting. And on Wednesday, Dave Gardner and I taped a nice episode of Digital Dice about eating your vegetables, about how to finish a replay when it's not going well. So, yeah, it was a very cool week. Yeah, absolutely a great thing. It was a pleasure to meet Ken. Hope to actually sit down and get the chance to talk with him. I've tried to get him on to do the Ron Chuckin show a couple times, and he goes, in written form, of course. But there. A couple of you have actually asked if I would interview my wife for the Ron Junkett show, and I asked her. I'll ask her again. But she was not real thrilled with the idea, which means that she's going to do it because, that's just the sort of thing. Brains for Life, how are you? So that's pretty much the highlights of this week. So if you got any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. For next week for the football, we're doing the Dolphins and the Jets from week 3 of 86, which is the infamous 51-45 game. The Jets won in overtime. Yes, usually if I ask something about like that, she'll laugh and call me an idiot, which is why we've been together for 23 years. So that was kind of so, but I think we'll try to do it. OG, how are you? My favorite war game creator. You won't go wrong with it. You won't go wrong with it. The key thing about the Action PC games is that they're all kind of continuously updated. But if you buy one, the next year you wouldn't necessarily need to buy the other. Changes are very subtle, but they're on sale, and seasons are on sale all the time, so you can pretty much get what you want. Who do I like, the Vikings or the Packers? If I had to choose between the two, whoever wasn't playing the Giants. I kind of liked them both. My wife was a big Packer fan when Brett Favre was quarterback, but I think she just really wanted to see Brett Favre. I have a brother-in-law who's a huge Viking fan. Is that a non-committal enough answer? Between the two, I like the Packers better. Big game on Sunday. Yeah, sarcasm works. Sarcasm definitely works. What the mods for 2nd and 10 is normally what I use for getting those. There might be, if you go to sportsreplays.net, and I think Al can put that link in there, you can find good fields for that too. But there you can mod those games a lot. Oh, where they're playing. Whoever is at home is who I'm going to take. Mind you, I watch about 5 football games a year. I watched an hour of the Bills and Jets on Sunday and promptly fell asleep. That's how exciting it was. And I was upset because the Patriots and Giants are playing at the same time on the same channel. So I won't be able to see the Giants and the Bills. Who is the bigger idiot? The idiot or the idiot that marries the idiot? Oh, I think the original idiot. Well, no. That's a good question. If you're an idiot enough to marry an absolute idiot, yeah. Yeah, I could. Yeah. Depends how long the second idiot stays with the first, I think. So that one is there. I got sucked into a fantasy team this year, and we didn't draft until like Tuesday of this week. But they somehow counted the week 1 stats, and I lost, which is amazing. Which just tells me how much I care about fantasy. I did somehow end up with Antonio Brown. He gets suspended yet? But yeah, Dave Little's question it's kind of like, where do you bury the survivor? I don't know why this is shaking. Where do you bury the survivors questions? So, where do you bury the survivors, or who's the bigger idiot? What's going on with D&D? We're still, I think, in the process of putting together a team, and we're looking for a 4th, I think. If you're interested, idjesterlive@gmail.com. All one word. idjester, Jester, live, all one word, @gmail.com. And he'll give you the details on that. But there's no practice session even this week. So hopefully we get this started in a couple of weeks. I saw that. Okay. Let's see. Al was asking me other questions today. If he wants to ask them again, he can. So, so what else is on your guys' mind? The hurricane's about to hit Florida. I forgot the name of this one. It turned into fall here pretty quick. I mean, it's been kind of chilly. We had a night that was like 40 degrees, which is very early. I mean, it's still the first half of September. Let's see. What else? What else is on your guys' mind tonight? So what am I doing for football? I told you the Dolphins and the Jets. And speaking of the Packers, we're doing the not the Braves, the Bears and the Packers on Thursday from 86. How the hell do you do that? Did that just like hit the top of the bat? What a strange injury. Charlie Culberson? That's nuts. Charlie Culberson, by the way, is a great answer to a trivia question. Who was the last batter that Vin Scully called at Dodger Stadium? Oh, I like Stinker. When I covered the Nats, the Braves were fun to cover because they just played so hard behind him. That's kind of weird. Oh, pitcher threw right at Culberson's head. Let's see. Anyone here play Status Pro Hockey? If you have, let me know. Ba-doom boom. You'll be here all the week. Let me see. What else? If you haven't been watching, the ID Jester has done 2 games in the FOC roster card tournament. Okay. Thanks for coming, bud. Greatly appreciate it. And I want tennis match I would have liked to see. I would have loved to have seen Rod Laver in his prime. Maybe Laver and McEnroe, because McEnroe worshipped the ground that Laver walked on. Or maybe Sampras in his prime against a Federer or Nadal. I was always a huge Sampras fan. And of course, his record of majors lasted about 2 weeks before Federer and Nadal kind of overtook them. I mean, I remember watching Chrissy and Martina in their prime, and those were absolute wars. And of course, McEnroe and Borg and McEnroe and Connors. But I guess it would be kind of some cross era stuff. I can simulate that, and Al does a good job of doing those $1 million sets. But maybe Venus and Serena and their prime actually going at it, as opposed to trying to not hurt each other's feelings. Because Venus, when she was younger, was really, really good. I'm not sure if she was ever better than Serena, but I think she could have given Serena a fantastic 3-set match. All right, Al, if you could have watched any 2 fighters fight, who would you have wanted to see? We'll go with that. Okay, so yeah. All right, if I could go back in time and attend any baseball game in history, or football game, gosh, that's a good. I assume that we're talking about in person and not just watch on television. Oh God. I suppose just for the sheer joy of exhilaration, Game 4 of the 04 World Series, just to have seen, I could see the Red Sox win the World Series. Yeah, in person. Okay. Football. That's a good one. 58 NFL championship. Because that's when it became on the big stage. I'd have loved to have actually seen a game at Yankee Stadium, and I guess that would have qualified for both. Game 7, 75. Yeah, with that hat, I can understand. All the 1919 World Series games. That's a good one. That's a good one. I guess maybe if it wasn't for the selfish of watching the Red Sox win a World Series, maybe the 51 series, just to see Mantle and Mays against each other, because that would have been fun. But you could make for, but yeah, I suppose to be selfish, it would be the Game 4 of the 04 World Series in St. Louis and the 58 NFL championship game. Or I take that back for the football. The Catch 81 NFC championship game. One of the best football games I've ever seen. Yeah, right thereafter, I get the latest in liver and beans. Cardinals Rangers Game 6, absolutely. One of the best games ever played. Bobby Thompson's homer or Mazeroski. So the last game of the 51 NL regular season and Game 7 of the World Series in 60. Al would see Graziano versus LaMotta. That's interesting. Okay. was one of those games at Yankee Stadium. I don't remember who had home field. Probably. I bet you're right. That was a good game. Wasn't that down in Miami? Was that one of the years that the Orange Bowl Orange Bowl hosted? You know, sad but true story. I belong to a message board where the defender that got called on that pass interference was a member back then, front office football. So kind of had a personal connection to that game. Ollie, Jimmy Young. That's a good fight. Yeah, you know, you kind of knew that was a changing of the guard game. They're like, whoa, because you weren't. I mean, growing up in the East, and so you didn't see San Francisco a lot, and like, whoa, they belonged. Of course, Philly shut out Dallas the year before in Philadelphia, and then didn't really ever make it back. Boise State, Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, Statue of Liberty play. BC Miami 85 rings in there too. That was the greatest fourth quarter I've ever seen. That's the Flutie game. 84? The Flutie game. Hockey, game 3 of the Canada Cup in 87. And basketball, oh God, I would have loved to have gone and seen some of those Celtics Warriors battles in the early 60s between Russell and Chamberlain. Yeah, just to say that, which one? There's 2. Take care, buddy. Are you making me stay up late tonight or no? Patriots and Giants? Yeah, you know, that would be kind of up there, but no. A lot of people, I think, would say that. And remember, that didn't guarantee the U.S. even a medal. They had to go out and beat Finland in the final. Here, sour grapes. That is a good choice. That's the game that Magic had to start at center. All right, buddy. Thanks for coming in. I do appreciate it. I appreciate it a great deal. Enjoy. Noah Weaver. He was in the booth on ABC with that bad perm. But yeah, Eddie Murray and Palmer. The Dream Team in Barcelona in 92. I wasn't a big fan of that. I was happy Magic and Larry got their Olympic golds. But we don't need to be beating teams by 90. Yep, Kareem Hurt. And Magic was so tall for a point guard, too. That's a good choice. Seeing Oscar Robertson play for Cincinnati. Or, you know, if Dave Little is still here, that 70-71 Milwaukee Bucks team. Wow. Joe Altobelli. Joe Altobelli is the manager of that team. Yep. That must have been hard for Earl because that literally was his team. He had Stoddard in the rotation that year. Stoddard fell down a flight of stairs at a restaurant in New York. And so, yeah, to watch Altobelli take his team to the World Series. You know, it's funny, Larry, because I live about 90 minutes from Lake Placid. But at the time, I lived in New Mexico. And we didn't even have a television. I didn't even see that. I think I had ESPN Classic before I watched that game all the way through. It's a great game, and you watched it on CBC. And Ivan would say Hulk Hogan win the world championship from Iron Sheik. Who's my favorite baseball player now? uh, Mookie Betts and Anthony Rendon. That was a great game. Both of those great games in that tournament have been very good. Ichiro was so much fun to watch, wasn't he? I'd love to have seen him in Japan. Oh, yeah. Baseball Demos is no longer in the process of being banned for saying that. I remember watching that. For a golf round, it's tough because you can't really. If I was to go 18 holes with somebody, I would say Tiger at Pebble in 2000. The year he won the Open by 10 or 11 shots. And that was just, I've never seen that. I mean, he single-handedly ruined the U.S. Open after that because they just couldn't decide how to set up the courses anymore. I mean, he was not only the only one under par, but he finished at like 10 or 11 under par. That was great. So that's a good subject. Greatest game I saw in person was for basketball was my high school won a Division II title my junior year in high school. I was the PA announcer that year. They went 18-2 in the regular season. And they won on 2 free throws with like a second to go. And the high school that they were playing, the big guy, like 6'5" or 6 something and big, tried to get an inbound pass and tried to get in for like a half court miracle, and they couldn't get the shot off. Well, I think the one at the U.S. Open was the year he won Hoylake, only using a driver twice. That was pretty good too. Yep. Yes, sir. Good point. Good point. Did I put this one up there already? A healthy Bo. Man. I mean, I watched Walter Payton. I watched Emmitt Smith. My dad talked a lot about Jim Brown. If Bo Jackson had been healthy and played football full time, he might have been the best ever. I mean, he could just, man, he was good. Al was supposed to ask me about what I thought of. That's interesting. Kareem. Huh. Okay. Yeah, I bet that was it. I remember watching some of those games. Those were treats. How are you, Clinton? Good to have you along. Richmond sweeping a doubleheader from Durham. That's cool. What else? Hi, Maya. How are you? Nice to have you along. Oh, at Florida? Oh my God. Tim Tebow at Florida was all that in a bag of chips too. Or maybe, for football games that you wish you saw in person, that Rose Bowl between Vince Young and Reggie Bush. The 06 Rose Bowl. Keith Jackson's last game. You are good. Okay. Would I choose a Duke UNC game? Probably not. What if I was to do a college game? Many hellos from Michigan. Well, nice to have you along. College game. Maybe the Carolina-Michigan game in '93, the no timeout game. Oh yeah, Bo versus Herschel, Auburn, Georgia. Yep. I suppose. Do I want to say Duke, Kentucky in the '91 Eastern Final? I was on a spring break And of course, those were double headers. And, the family didn't want to watch 9 hours of college basketball. So I was told to pick one game, and I forget. Was it Indiana and UCLA was the first regional final that day? Well, don't worry about that. How did you find me? Best college game was VCU routing Kansas to make the Final Four. I could see that. And so that's the one I watched. And it was a blowout, and they wanted to watch something else, obviously. And so I listened to Duke and Kentucky on the radio. And every time I watch the end of that, I'm still hope the shot clock, the clock runs out before Leitner gets off that shot. Maybe Georgetown Villanova, when Villanova upset them. As far as the regular season, there must be. Okay, well, that's odd. All right, well, 91. That is true. So Maya, what interests you? You can ask your question. I might not sure if I can be able to answer it, but go ahead. It's Ask Uncle Ron. You can ask pretty much any question you'd like. I read the other day that game was the impetus for developing satellites for television to carry television programming. No, I don't think I'll cough, but that's absolutely true. Bill the Mariner Sweat. Oh, you know what? I think I've told you this before. I watched Ken Griffey Jr. take batting practice up here. All right, so go ahead and ask your question, Mira. How do I customize my action fields? I can. I thought I did that one already. I don't actually customize them myself. Someone's already made them, but I can do that again. Okay. Who would I rather have? Oh man, Soto. Yeah. Did I show my new board? I did not. I can do that. Let me get. Hey, Sarah. Let me get Vanna. I'm gonna yell for her again. Hold on, just a second. She yelled at me, so just a second, and I'll show that off. It's great. Yeah, Soto. As much as I like Acuna, Soto just is the real thing. Can they re-sign Anthony Rendon, please? Would you grab what Dave sent me? Yes. My best mean moment was snapping a photo with a flash of Doc Gooden's eye pregame bullpen warm-up. You're going to see her in a second. All right. Dave Gardner had this made up. Say hi, Sarah.
Hi.
There's Sarah. So Dave Gardner had this made up and sent this to me. So let me get out of the way. It says, hold it up higher. It's a custom strap board that someone makes. Dave can put in there you go. And the patches, right? Was on the inner side? And I got some jersey patches too here. There, and the other one, there's two in there. See? So I got that one. Seth says hello, Sarah.
Hello.
So again, Sharon says hi. So we want Sarah to come on for an hour or so next week, right? Sarah's shaking her head no at me, but you're right. So Sarah got Charlie Horse from doing that. You know her? Yes. She was there. She was there. But where is Elizabeth? You mean Emily? We don't allow Emmy in here when Sarah's home because Emmy wants to play. So, yes. So, thanks to Francois, was that the name? Or Philippe? Who's the name of the person that made those? And if you're a Strat hockey player, you can get a custom board made for you with the four checkers and where to line up there. And it's very nice and glossy and looks very sharp. I believe there's like 5 players on there. I bet you'd have a great time. I bet you'd have a great time. Doing that. So, all right, what else you guys want to talk about for a few minutes? So, thanks again for the board. If you noticed, I can't show it now, that all 24 of the gallon and a half of Stanley Cups are on that board. But yeah, he made Dave a couple nice ones too. A very nice Bruins one and the California Golden Seals one. So if you play Strat hockey and have a favorite team, we'll talk about it on the Digital Dice podcast where he got those boards because they're absolutely fantastic. I'll let people that actually watch baseball say that, although you can kind of should make the argument that Rendon should be the MVP. Oh, that's a good one. That was always the eternal question. Depends, I suppose, when they clinch the actual spot and how far they got to go. I would say Strasburg. Yeah, we still have the Lake Monsters, short season single A. They're now affiliated with Oakland. There's talk if Tampa does actually do that thing with Montreal, that they would move that back to Burlington. But yeah, short season single A. I would think so. Yeah, no argument there. Now, will they sign him? They can, Harper, I didn't mind when they let walk, but you got to keep Rendon. I've got his jersey. I bought 2 jerseys in the last year for active players. In fact, I have every active player jersey I have, except for Eli Manning, has been traded or signed elsewhere. I got a PK Subban. He's now in New Jersey. Mookie Betts, they're talking about moving him this offseason. And Rendon, of course, could be gone elsewhere. Bellinger's a hell of a player, too. But, yeah, I agree with the Nats. Rendon's the reason why they're in the race. Those talking writing thingies. I used, when I wrote for Bleacher Report, I had speech software, and it didn't work. It worked fine, but I didn't, I type at 30 words a minute. Would I cover at least minor league and college? Probably not. But you never know. I do enjoy the writing aspect of it. I didn't like the lack of pay. Let's just say, Clinton, I make more doing fake football games in a month than I did writing about the Nationals. And Seth agrees with demos. That's the thing about sports writing is that everyone has an opportunity for you, but no one really wants to pay. All right, if you're not following Damos' 30 for 30 pennant chase, you should do that on his channel. Thanks a bunch. Your wife, Angela, says hello to Sarah. Sarah's not in here, but she certainly appreciates it. And I think we will get Sarah on here for a chat. Probably won't be the normal 2 hours, but we'll get her in here at some point to do that. Speaking of Stratomatic, how you doing, Dave S? Hope you are doing well this evening. We're just going to go a few more minutes. Tomorrow, we're going to do the play-in game for that 60s baseball tournament. It'll be for the American League. It'll be the 1962 Los Angeles Angels against the 1967 Boston Red Sox from Fenway Park at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, right here on Retro Sports Network. Up in Maine. Doing well. How about you, my friend? The 65 Reds upset the 67 Cardinals. Bob Gibson went 9. Game went 11. And so those will be regularly at Sunday at noon. Kurt and I figured out a time for that, and so there. So yeah, so I know that the 65 Reds will be the 4 seed. But I like that, having that wild card. It was a pitcher's duel, Clinton. It was Jim Maloney against Gibson, and I think the final score was 4-3, only because Nellie Briles allowed Cincinnati to do bad things. Oh, glad to hear it, Seth. Seth's an old friend from District on Deck. He got paid an internship for a geotechnical engineering firm and left the grocery store. So life is good. Delighted to hear that. Good for you. And I believe he's still at Old Dominion. He'll let me know. I know Ricky Keeler, who never pops in on these things, but I talk to him from time to time, was the gopher for the Phillies-Mets game on FS1 last week. Got to meet Don Orsillo. I've met Don Orsillo once. He didn't realize it. And AJ Perinsky. Has a rather high. Yeah, he's a good pitcher. Still at ODU. Okay. And so we'll see if the Reds can do to whoever the number 1 seed is what happened to the Reds in that 70s tournament. Absolutely. Remember watching them in the early 80s. You know what college basketball game, going back to that, would be the Big East tournament game between UConn and Pittsburgh that went for 7 overtimes. That would be a fun one to go to have been there for. Needed to drink some caffeine for that, but that would be fun. Delta State? Is that when you fly to Atlanta? You're in a Delta state of mind? Or Delta Street? Or Della Street from Perry Mason? All right, so tomorrow we're going to have some baseball for you. Monday, I think, is my turn to be in the FOC tournament. If you're following that on ID Gestures channel, I've got the 61 Detroit Tigers, and I'm going to be hosting, or he'll be, and I'll be playing Appa Chatters. The 42 Dodgers. What made you pick that Appa Chatter, by the way? That's an interesting choice. Yeah, Monday. Okay. That was 68. And UCLA won. Yeah, that third no-hitter, I think, sealed his fate as a Hall of Famer. For sure. So I take it that no one could think of the question to ask. It was interesting to have someone new. Hopefully they didn't give it a thumbs down. So yeah. So Tuesday is supposed to be, we'll do the football game at lunch. That's going to be the Miami and the Jets. And then we are expected to have the live virtual unboxing for Action PC Hockey. Damn you, because I was going to take the 62 Dodgers, but that's an interesting choice. I like the 20 White Sox were good there too. Yep, that actually is on YouTube. He threw 185 pitches in that game. And the Reds were wearing the white caps and the white vests with the red shirts. So, all right, last call for questions. And so, go Angels. Probably, certainly for an expansion team, they were really good. And the Red Sox just have a hard time hitting. As a team, they hit 255. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one too. It should be fun. Always curious to see what changes they make. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Dave, that they're kind of leading up for people to be setting up their own as-played hockey replays with that version. Redskins versus Dallas tomorrow. Hopefully goes better than last week. Yeah, you got them winning the second half. And Dallas is pretty good. They just beat the poop out of my Giants. Maybe I'll get to see a Giants game next week since I won't be able to tomorrow. And so there we go. All right, so last call for questions. I'm not sure. Dave and I are supposed to be interviewing somebody Monday, hopefully not Tuesday. They were so hot for so long. The only good thing about it is the Cubs aren't very good right now either. So we're hoping to have an interview for the next Edge. Well, that's the story of the franchise right there. Interview for the next podcast. I think we're doing that Monday. He wants to, but we'll see. So, all right. Okay. The reason why they stopped showing games on Christmas Day, the best football, it was the Dolphins Chiefs, Jan Stenerud in overtime in the 71 playoffs. I watched that game. I don't remember it. I was a month old, but I watched the game, I'm sure. You too, buddy. Thanks for coming in. All right. So thanks to all of you who stuck around for the 50 some odd minutes and watched that. And it was a pleasure to meet Kenny Castro. If he allows me to put that on Facebook, I will. If not, it's on the Friends of the Community Discord. Not sure what Mr. Al is going to be up to tonight. We'll see if I stay up for that. So thanks a bunch for watching. Hit that like, subscribe, and the bell when we go live. Next live stream on this channel will be noon tomorrow. The 62 Angels at the 67 Red Sox in the American League play-in game for that 60s tournament. Thanks a bunch. That was a great picture. Absolutely. Talk to you tomorrow. Have a good night.